Welcome back to Steeped in Storytelling, where each episode we reflect on the beauty of interweaving story, science, and sound. I'm your host, voiceover artist Sarah DeLong. I come to the mic with experience as an integrative somatic facilitator, a mindfulness guide with training in anatomy, neuroscience, and cultural somatics, a public librarian. No, I didn't get time to read at work, unless you count storytime. And for a brief time, a chef. This episode, we're letting ourselves get cozy. We're tucking in with tales that comfort, voices that soothe, and stories that offer shelter. And no, not every cozy story has to involve a kitchen. Sometimes comfort sounds like building spreadsheets in a blanket fort, or hexing your ex in a mossy cave. Today's brew, a hot, spiced, freshly pressed apple cider with ginger, cinnamon, and maybe a bit of bourbon. It's up to you. There's a concept in neuroscience called predictive processing, the idea that your brain is constantly trying to guess what comes next. It builds maps of the world based on repeated experiences, so it can prepare your body, your emotions, and your energy for what's to come. Your nervous system is always listening for pattern, familiarity, and rhythm. It's listening not only to what you say, but how you say it. When your brain recognizes the rhythm of a story, or the tone of a narrator, or the arc of a tale that ends in reconstruction, restoration, or repair, it breathes easier. It lets go of the need to be on alert. This is why some people rewatch the same movies, or reread the same books, or make the same soup when the weather turns. It's also why you might find comfort in a mystery, even if the plot involves crime, because the pacing is slow, the characters are known, or the resolution is promised. Cozy fiction is known for its sensory details. And I don't think that's accidental. Interacting brain regions process language, movement, and sensory input. For many of us, stimulating one part of the brain activates the others, and our brains respond to details about scent, taste, and motion as if we were the one experiencing it, rather than the story character. So, when the story matches our own experience with familiarity and comfort, our systems shift into safety. Story becomes a co-regulation tool. And for people who live with caregiving burnout, high-stress work, everyday overstimulation, or extreme stress to the point of trauma, cozy fiction becomes a kind of medicine or reset button to return to safety, to remember how that safety feels. Familiarity doesn't have to mean fluff. It can be imaginative, speculative, haunting, held together with a voice, a setting, or sensory details that feel like home, as in homeostasis, or balance, or baseline. Home is something the nervous system recognizes, not through logic, but through pattern, repetition, vibration, and sound. I love a tale in a world where problems are real but solvable, where danger exists but not dread, where characters soothe and co-regulate when they're overwhelmed, where friendships, unraveling, and reweaving are central to the plot, like steeping in sensory joy that feels like a weighted quilt. So, whether you're drawn to dragon cafes, family dramas, cottagecore romances, or library adventures, you're building a shelter for your senses, a place where you already know the shape of the story and your body can soften. Cozy Sci-Fi Nature Scene, Observation Deck Theta, by Sarah DeLong. Observation Deck Theta was the quietest place on the ship. Far from the engine whirs, no data panels, no task alerts. Just a wall of glass and an ocean blue alloy arching overhead, curving wide like a sky that remembered gravity. Out beyond the glass, the nebula drifted. Deep violet clouds, like petals suspended in amber, starlit golds blooming from their centers. She sat in a nest of recycled fleece, knees pulled up, a curved crochet hook tucked into the rhythm of her fingers. A mug of matcha alike steeped beside her, earthy and strange, a little like seaweed in the rain. In this pocket, there was no call to command, no pulse to respond to, just breath, fleece, and color slow dancing through the dark. As she worked the pattern, a starburst motif, she thought about the stories she might one day tell her nibbling. Her grandmother had told wonderful stories, the sound of Nana's voice threaded through her memory like a song. So many friends back home thought space was too vast and that she'd get lost out there. But here, on Observation Deck Theta, she felt more placed than ever. I'm not an expert, yet, in narrating speculative fiction, but here's a few things I've learned in the vocal booth. When you're reading to yourself, it's easy to float away on concepts and world building, but when reading to others, you're the anchor. There's a dance to being in the script and being a grounded emotional conduit, letting the listener float away in the world and ideas. Think about the smell of a plant, the sound of rain, the weight of fabric between fingers. When you engage your sensory imagination, your tone naturally shifts. You start to feel the fiction. Grounded in your sensory experience, you're the open portal, allowing the listener to pass through. Today's word, nest. Nest comes from the Old English nest, from Proto-Germanic nistaz. A nest is not permanent. It's temporary for a season, built with bits of the world, twigs and thread and leaves, and it holds life. What does it mean to nest in language, in a story? To create a space soft enough to sit and settle. To build a voice gentle enough to rest in. Building a story can be building a nest for someone. We listen, we hold, we soften. Welcome back to the Book Nook, our soft-lit corner of the show where we pull a couple of my favorite books off the shelf. First, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. If you're new to cozy fantasy, this is your starter mug. A retired orc named Viv trades her sword for a steaming cup of coffee. But what makes this story cozy isn't just the coffee or the cinnamon rolls. It's the care, the relationships, the permission to change and begin again. Next, Poetry as Spellcasting, edited by Tamiko Beyer, Destiny Hemphill, and Lisbeth White. This collection of queer and BIPOC voices is poetry and prompts, reminding us that all magic is collaborative. It offers suggestions of how you can create your own poetry, weaving play, intuition, and creativity, moving us toward transformation and liberation. Some of my favorite words are these, by Inuk poet Joan Navayuk Kane. Mind, bring me home. Home, restore our bodies to you. Senses, send me home. Home, fill my mind with the life of our land. Hand, fill the page with memory. Thanks for being here with me at Steeped in Storytelling. I hope I've given you some conversation starters to weave cozy narratives with your human, plant, and animal friends. Next week, we'll explore storytelling as an ecosystem, seasonal and diverse. Until then, keep sipping, keep listening, keep telling stories that make space for joy.